I know this. I've watched it and wished like hell I was there. So I'm motivated, baby. That's where I want to go. And I want to take this bunch to another Super Bowl. That's my commitment. I haven't been there. I want to be there.
He is, in my opinion, and of the head coaches that I have had, he is, without question, the best motivator that I've been around. And that's just a matter of, I think, the charisma that he possesses. I think the honesty that he reveals to his players.
This is what I always dreamed about. I never thought I would ever have the opportunity to do this, to be honest with you. I thought my time had passed. But being at the right place at the right time, we all know, is the key in anything. And definitely in this situation here. It was the perfect timing.
The guy next to me has my personal and total trust and commitment. And the guy next to me is your next coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and he just happens to be as talented, and he happens to be as special for this situation at this time for the Dallas Cowboys.
Things will remain the same. That's the thing that the coaching staff and the team is excited about. There's not going to be any changes. We're going to run the same playbooks, the same defense. We've got the same coaches doing the same jobs. I hope I can do as good a job as Jimmy Johnson. That's what you're hoping, and that's damn sure what you're hoping. That's why I'm here.
I'll get going. Welcome to another edition of Tag Nation. It's your boy, Mike Tag. Appreciate all the support. And we've got a very, very special guest. Now, you guys know I've interviewed a lot of people, a lot of Cowboys, Super Bowl champions, so on and so forth. But this one's got me nervous. And we're talking about bringing in the man who helped bring that 5th Lombardi trophy to Dallas. And that's none other than Coach Barry Switzer. How are you doing today, sir?
Pretty good, Mike. Stopped up a little bit here. Got some allergies. Been on a cruise in the Caribbean. Just got back. I do it every year, called it Country Western Cruise, music cruise, because all my customers want to go on that one. I take about 16 people, and we do it about every year. I've been on 8 of them. So wow. I just got back from that and come back into this damn weather I got in Oklahoma, and it's a little different. What it is down in Florida, you know that.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful here, but I go on the cruises, and when you go on those, you need a vacation from the vacation. So
but you're damn right you do. So anyway, I'm all stopped up, choked up here, but let's do it.
Oh well, let's go, and just really want to go back. Your coaching career is just unprecedented. 3 national championships, a Super Bowl championship with the Dallas Cowboys. And never really a losing season, one losing season, and that was the last year in Dallas. But going back to that time, of course, you're friends with Jimmy Johnson, competed with him, coached him and Jerry Jones. What was it like getting that call? What was your mindset when Jerry calls you and says there's a opening as a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, that actually happened March 24th. I believe. I don't think I forgot the date that he called me in 1994. And I remember that date because I had a colonoscopy that morning. And you have one of those, you don't forget them. And I was home and trying to sleep it off. I had that beset in me, and I didn't want to take any calls or anything. My girlfriend, I was single at the time, and I get a call, and she answers it, and it's Jerry Jones. Well, I tell her that I'll call Jerry back that afternoon. My relationship with Jerry, first of all, my relationship with Jerry was outstanding. I coached him at Arkansas, and Jimmy Johnson was there at the same time. We coached both of them. I was a young assistant coach at Arkansas from 1960 through 66. So I was, and that's the period of time that they were there in place. So all 4 years I was around them in the dorm, and got to know him pretty well. And then I hired Jimmy here at Oklahoma for 4 years as assistant coach. My first year as head coach, he was my defensive line coach. And he left here to go to Arkansas as defensive coordinator. That was in 1973. So I know him well. And Jerry came here in the 70s to make his first fortune in the oil and gas business. And I socialized with him quite a bit. And we knew each other very well. And at that time, we were talking about when he called me, there had been a lot of negative publicity in the papers. And you could pick up the papers at that time after they had the NFL convention in Florida at the Breakers, I believe. there were some negative stories come out of that. The press had overheard Jerry says, "I'll fire that son of a bitch and hire Barry Switzer tomorrow," or something like that. Yeah, I remember those statements. And people asked me, "You think he means that?" I said, "I don't know what Jerry." Yeah, Jerry's upset, but I think that he would actually turn to me because he's going to hire somebody he knows. You know what I mean? He's just throw a dart out there in the damn telephone book with a bunch of coaches in it and take that one. He had a short list of head coaches when he got the team, and so I felt that he probably would call me.
Yeah.
I found out later talking to him, he only had 2 coaches on there, and that was Jimmy and me. And he hired Jimmy first because Jimmy was coaching in Miami at that time, and I was out of coaching for a couple of years here in Norman, Oklahoma. So now he's calling me. He's firing Jimmy. All the national publicity is true. And there was a separation, and there's no love in Camelot. Everybody thought things was going great because he won 2 Super Bowls, but inside it wasn't that way. And so I get a call. I go that afternoon. I call Jerry back, and Jerry tells me that he would like to coach the Cowboys. And I remember I said, "Jerry, I didn't know the job was open." He says, "Well, it's going." I said, "It's going to be." And I said, "Well, call me when it is." And that's basically about what I said. And so the next day he calls, and he had made the decision to fire Jimmy. Norman, Oklahoma to Dallas, Texas is about a 2.5-hour drive. Yeah. I actually have driven to Valley Ranch in less than 2 hours. That's 2:00 in the morning doing 100 miles an hour. But it's you can get there pretty quick, and straight south of here over the Red River. And I went down, and we had I didn't get to see Jimmy. I was looking for both Jimmy. I said, "I want to talk to you and Jimmy together one night. Y'all screwed this damn thing up." And that was my question I had to ask. And I was the only one that came. I was a new guy. I was the only one that got off the bus. Jimmy left, and I inherited staff. I didn't know any of these guys. I knew one of them. I knew Joe Avezzano because he had been the head coach at Oregon State, and we had played them. And I'd known Joe from before that. He'd been to kind of the Big 8 conference, and I knew him, but I didn't know any of the other guys. So I had a job to find out some hidden agendas, and I had to do all the things that would allow me to have an opportunity to work with the staff, or they work with me, or I have to do something about it.
Yeah.
And it worked out all right. And Ernie Zampedis, he was new there. I wouldn't spend a lot of time with him. He was the offensive coordinator. Hudson Houck, the offensive line coach. And we were all kind of new. They were new hires, but I didn't know them, but they didn't know me.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge. And most coaches in the NFL get to hire their own staff, bring their own people that they know they're going to be loyal to them. They know who they are, what they are. That's very important. And staff, unity in the staff, because you got to have that. First of all, you got to have a loyalty and their support. And you got to know how they tick, and they know how you tick, and usually there's some harmony there that you can work with. Yeah. But I was at a loss, and I had a lot to learn from those guys and find out where everything lay. So I got to Dallas, and it started out from there. Yeah. I inherited a great team. Jimmy and Jerry had put together a great team, and Jerry had something to do with this. Not old Jimmy. Jerry had something to do with that. And you know, if he hadn't made the decisions to trade the running back,
Herschel
Walker,
yep.
Then those things wouldn't have happened. And Jerry's money and using it the right way made it happen. So anyway. They built a great team. I inherited a great team, and if we hadn't screwed up out there in San Francisco my first year there, be down 21-0 the first 5 minutes, we might have won the 4 Super Bowls in a row. But the next year we did win it and beat Green Bay for the NFC Championship, and went out and beat Pittsburgh. But it was a good run, and we got in the playoffs. 2 wins into the playoffs the second year and third year, and fourth year free agency started when I first got in the league.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of players start being siphoned off, and so we weren't the team that we were the previous 3 or 4 years we won the Super Bowl. We weren't the same players. We weren't the same team because we had to get out in free agency and try to fill some holes. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I told Jerry after fourth year, I said, Jerry, I'm going back to Norman. I said, when I came here, that you said there were 500 coaches could coach this team to a Super Bowl. I said, well, there's 499 out there left, so you go find you one. But we were joking about it.
Yeah.
Jerry was good with me and treated me great. I liked him. I've always liked Jerry, and because I had a special relationship with him, and he is a good guy.
Yeah.
And I know what the papers do. They want to create controversy. It's about 50-50 out there. And it was about 50-50 when I went to Dallas. I told him that. I said, I knew when I was coaching Oklahoma, I knew who liked me, who supported me, who didn't support me when I came south that Red River when I played Texas.
Yeah.
So,
and Coach, talking about, that situation, the one thing that I realized, and maybe I didn't when I was younger, but that comment of 500 coaches can coach the Cowboys, that's not true. I mean, whoever was coming in to coach the Cowboys was taking on, obviously replacing a coach that just won two Super Bowl championships, winning that locker room over. So I don't think any coach could have done it. And I think you were the perfect coach for that job because you had that relationship with the players. You can get that locker room together. You can win them and bond them together through the turmoil that the media was surrounding them with and everything that was coming at them. You can be that constant for them. So what's your thoughts when you hear about that 500 coaches could have done what you did?
Well, what I think the comment had reflected on basically the talent that they had.
Yeah.
The free agency hadn't started yet. And you get the players, they're yours. They're yours till they retire. And that was the system back then. And free agency didn't exist. So the players that the Cowboys had when I arrived were the Cowboys. And then free agency started the year I came there. Next year it was free agency, and therefore players were being siphoned off, and we were able to we lost several, and we became less talented every year, and so I don't really believe that was the case when I left there. 500 coaches could win the Super Bowl with this team because it was becoming more and more average. And certainly the year I left, I had lost Charles Haley and I'd lost Jay Novacek, the two most valuable players on offense and defense. And it was a devastating blow to us because they were such key players. My number one sack rusher and defensive player, all pro, NFL, in the hall, and you got Jay Novacek, who's the best, I thought, 3rd and 2 because of our offense, play action and all. 3rd and 2, running inside 3 route, he was just unstoppable. 6'6", jump out of sight. He was a athlete. He's a great athlete and great hands, and he just convert to 3rd and 2, move the chains. It's 1st and 10. We're gonna run into that your ass a couple times, and we'll get short yards or another first. And so anyway, that is more of a joke than a true axiom. And I think that it would have been difficult for anybody to success when I left there.
Yeah, and I just think what you did with that locker room, and I'm going to get into it in a little bit and really play an example for you. But going into that first season, so you're taking on a team. You lost some guys. I know Ken Norton Jr. was one of the the key guys.
Right.
We lost to San Francisco of all teams, but
right.
You go 12-4. You cruise into the playoffs. You take care of, I believe it was Green Bay. You handled them pretty easily, which I always love being a Cowboys fan. I always tell people, the Green Bay's owned us in this time, but there was a day that we just ended their season every year and we beat them every time. So you definitely kept that going. And then you've got the championship game. And this is the one that interests me because as a fan, I was just in high school. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were down 21-0 in a blink of an eye. and you still hear Troy Aikman, you hear Michael Irvin, you hear Emmitt Smith, and all these guys. This was one of the games that they were the most proud of, and it was a loss. But I think it was the way they fought. So, what were your thoughts going into that
first
championship?
half. Well, obviously, I thought we could beat them. We could win the game. I thought it would be a toss-up, but I thought we could win. I believed in our team, but we were down 21-0 the first 5 minutes of the game. Troy Aikman's first pass is intercepted, and they ran a stunt, and they zone blitz, and they dropped the end, and they intercept the end defensive end. Reggie Jackson intercepts the Willie linebacker, intercepts and runs for a touchdown, and then the next series they kick off to us. We get the ball out to 25 or 20. I don't know where the hell they put the ball back that day. I really don't. I can't remember where they put it.
It was at the 20 back then. It was at the 20.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been so damn long ago now. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And we get the ball to 20, and we complete a post route to Michael at Flicker this time, and he catches it and turns up field, and he's got a couple of first downs there, made 20 yards or so. And Eric, I think the cornerback, Eric.
Yeah.
I can't think of his last name right now, but Eric Pope.
Yeah.
Eric Pope reaches in and knocks the ball out, and Merlin Hanks catches it on the rebound, and he runs 32 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, I couldn't stand that dance he did either. That always bugged me.
Well, we were total shock. I mean, the whole team is in total shock. We're down 20. We're down 14-0 now, and what else can happen? What else can happen? Well, they kick off to us. We kick off to Kevin Williams. He runs the damn kickoff right up back in front of our bench and fumbles at the 32-yard line. They get the ball to 32, and they take a 7-play drive and put it in the end zone. We're down 21-0. It's still only less than 5 minutes gone in the game. So, what do you tell a team? You tell a team we got 5 minutes to go, and thank God we got 55 minutes to get back in this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But, so we fought back from 21-0. We had 2 80-yard drives for touchdowns, and so we got back in the game.
Yeah.
But my coaching mistake, I allowed Ernie Zampese taught me into going for it. Just with a minute and 20 seconds to go, I said I wanted to run them at 3 times, and we punt the ball and go at the half down 21-14, and we gained some momentum, and we're back in it. And Ernie says, "Well, we just went and scored last time we got it. Let's go get a field goal. We get a score here, Coach. Let's go get it. We got it going now." And I let him talk me into it. He throws 3 we throw 3 incomplete passes, and doesn't run any time off the clock. And we end up punting the ball to him, and Jerry Rice catches a fingertip touchdown pass in back of the end zone to go back up 14 points on us.
Yeah.
And I cut myself all the way to the locker room. I really just thought my gut tuition told me, don't do it, do this. And I let him talk me into it. I should have said, Ernie, run the fucking ball. Excuse me.
No, it's all right.
run the ball, and we go in halftime with the score. But that didn't happen, and I think that really demoralized us right there. And I think players probably think, why the hell we run him and go to halftime too. But Ernie our offensive coordinator wanted to go for it. But anyway, I'm the decision maker, and I didn't do what I felt right. But anyway, whoever wins that game is going to hang half $100 on San Diego.
Oh yeah,
we beat them like a drum earlier in the year. So that was the Super Bowl game, and obviously the best game of the year on the NFL. But anyway, that's how we won it the next year.
Yeah,
and able to go get it done next year.
Well, and the one close thing, just to close up on that game, and then we'll get into the '95 season, was Michael Irvin had a game, probably his best game of his career. And, him and Dion still talk about it, and there's still an argument. Was that a PI? Because if it was, boy,
Damn
we're
right
right
it
back in
was.
that game. It was.
Damn right it was. And I got a damn 15-yard penalty because I demonstrated on the official. I demonstrated on official. I said, the hell he hit it. I swung my hand. I said, he had his arms in his chest. And the official threw a flag on my ass.
It's so funny to this day. I mean, Michael is as passionate about that play as anything. But we go into the 95 season. So, we had some disappointment in 94. It starts out fast. If my memory serves me, and I'm just going off my memory, I think we played the Giants on Monday night, and I think Emmett took it 80 yards to the house on the first play. I could be wrong in the year, but it just sticks in my mind. It's one of those things you remember where you're at.
I remember we scored the first play of one of those games. I forgot which one.
Yeah.
But it took it to the house.
So
that's the way to start a game.
No, and it was always funny because I tell these guys now is like, oh, Emmitt Smith, he's too slow, he's too this. I say, well, I saw him catch, run 80 yards, no one caught him, so he must have been fast enough. But the interesting thing with that season, and I wanted to get in, and the media, they were relentless on you, and it was not nearly as big as it is today. But the infamous game I wanted to get into was the Philly game. So I remember it like I was yesterday.
Yeah. And I remember it too.
Fourth and a foot.
That was Bozo the Clown, remember?
Absolutely. Well, what was your thoughts? It was fourth and a foot. I know we're on our side. And the funny thing is, if you look at today's game.
It was fourth and 2 inches. I know it. I saw him measured. I made him measure it twice. So, they don't put 2 inches on the scoreboard. All they do is 4th and 1, Yeah. Then 4th and 1, I punted the damn thing. But it was 2 inches.
And you had the best offensive line. You have the best running back in the league. My thought, if you can't get that, you probably don't deserve to win the game anyway.
Here's the situation I'm in. I go for it, and we don't make it. What do? I tell my team I don't have confidence in now. We're not going to go for it. We're going to punt it. Well, that would have been stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The team wanted to go for it, and hell, they were embarrassed that they didn't get it. Let's go for it again. So hell, I was kind of hung into going for it twice. So, so we go for it twice, and they end up, and when I'd go on Philadelphia radio, and they'd always bring up that game, and they'd laugh talk about, I let them go on. You know what I hide in the conversation?
Huh.
I said, I got a question I want to ask y'all. I said, who won the Super Bowl here?
Well,
that makes that irrelevant, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely. And I just wanted to play. Hopefully you can hear this. I want to play this clip because this is what I was leading into. Philly fans hate me. I get destroyed on social media. I get destroyed everywhere it goes. Yeah. And I can deal with it, and it's fine. It comes with the territory. But I always tell them, we got 5 Super Bowl rings. You can't erase history. You can talk what you want, but we still got 5. But the beauty of it is you had a chance to play them again in the playoffs, and you guys put a beating on them. So when the Philly
we destroyed them in Dallas.
Yes. So I want to play this. This is one of my favorite clips. Your post game, you probably remember, but I just want to play it for the audience. This is one of my favorites, and get your comment.
We kicked their ass today. We played like that last time. It wouldn't have to even come down to a 4th and foot. So let's bury that son of a okay, before I take that mic.
So I don't know if you were able to hear that, but that was your reaction to that.
I know what I said. I was emotional. But it's always good when you get less laugh.
Oh, absolutely. And in that season, again, the pressure's on, all the stuff that you had to deal with. And it's crazy. It's Dallas. It's taken to another level, which I'll get into in a little bit. But you get to the championship game. You take care of Green Bay. You get to the Super Bowl. And now, the opportunity, right? Which all the pressures, probably still on you because you got to deliver the championship because that's what you're going to be judged by. What was that feeling? Thoughts going into the game, playing against Pittsburgh, who's beat us twice in the history, the Super Bowl. You were able to right that wrong as well. So what was going into that Super Bowl? What was that feeling like?
Well, I had confidence. I always have confidence that we will win the ball game, and I felt very confident we'd win this one if we don't make mistakes. But I tell you what there were two plays that happened in the first half that concerned me. We had it was about a minute to go in the half. We're leading 13-0, and they complete a crossing route. We were 2 deep, 5 short zone, and Willie linebacker drops into his outside quarter over there. He's going to cover that area. Well, all he's got to do is look for 2 coming out of the backfield. If no back is releasing this flat, he looks for the crossing route. And he didn't do it. All of a sudden, he turns and chases the damn ex-receiver down the field. Well, by the time that crossing route gets over and hit that zone area over there, there's no one there. He catches the ball wide open. He turns up the field, makes 20 yards, and he gets them the first down. And it was 4th and 19. Charles Haley had won the first half. Charles Haley, the play before, had sacked the quarterback for a 10-yard loss, and he made it 3rd and 19. Yeah. And they made 3rd and 19. You're not supposed to make that in the NFL. And they did on that play because of a damn busted mistake, just assignment, mental error. And so what happens is that they go in, they score right before the half, and they back in it, 13-7. It's a 1-score game. And that really disappointed me at the half because I was really upset about that. But anyway, we got out of it, and we were able to win by 10, and we were favored by 10, and we got the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I was happy for Jerry. I was more. People always ask me, was I happy I won a Super Bowl? I said, hell no, I was happy Jerry won the damn thing. He's the one he wanted to put his ass out on the limb that, hired me to come in there and fire Jimmy. I understand why he fired Jimmy and all the stories that have been told me by the staff and the people that were there and all. But, the thing about it, Jimmy Johnson and I are friends. We've been friends all our life. I knew him when he was a 17-year-old kid. I coached him at Arkansas. Yeah. I coached Jimmy, and then he was on my staff here for 4 years at Oklahoma. So I had I knew Jimmy well. So anyway, it's just all those connections all are intertwined, and it just it doesn't make sense not to have a good relationship with the guys you work with, and we did back then. And I don't know why Jerry and Jimmy I have an idea. There's no need for me to talk about it or speculate on it, but it's a shame it happened that way. When I first got there, I called Jerry and I said, Jerry, I'm going to get Jimmy. I'm going to get y'all 2 in a room here. I want to ask you how y'all screwed this son of a bitch up. And he said, well, he's already gone. I said, why hell? I wanted to see him before he left.
God. Yeah, it'll never. No one will ever understand it. But one of the things that game did, and it was leading up to the Super Bowl, when we were getting, after we won against Green Bay, I wanted to play one other clip because I really think this signifies what the players felt about you. And you took a lot of heat. You came in a bad situation, and this is from Michael Irvin. And I'm and I talked about a lot about this with on other shows. And I mean, Michael Irvin was Jimmy Johnson. I mean, at Miami, and then he goes to Dallas. Yeah. They were so close, and when they parted ways, when Jerry parted ways, he's throwing trash cans around. He was really visibly upset, but he said something, and it took me all this time to find this clip. It's my favorite clip. I remembered it like it was yesterday when we were going to the Super Bowl after we beat Green Bay, and it took me forever to find it. When I was researching some stuff and things to pull, from you for clips and stuff, I stumbled upon it on an NFL Films. And let me just play, and I just want to get your thoughts. Maybe you know this already, but I just want to get your thoughts on it and play it for the audience.
Don't nobody deserve it more than our head coach, Barry Switzer. He take all the maligning, give him his due. We going home.
You remember that? You remember that post-game speech?
I heard him yell and scream.
Well, he was defending, you. He said, no one deserves this more than our coach, Barry Switzer. He's taken all of your ass, all your maligning, you give him his due. We're going home, and that was back to the Super Bowl. So to me, that always cemented the relationship that you had with players and what you built with these players. And I know Michael Irvin and Deion Sanders, I didn't even get a chance to get into Deion Sanders. I mean, they love you to this day. And when you hear the Prescott, when they do interviews and they talk about 95, they get baited. They always get baited to try and see if they can, say some sort of zinger on you, and they never fall for it. They never go with it. And they have the utmost respect for you as a coach and everything you've done for their career and the appreciation. So I just think that's really cool. I don't know. It just means a lot.
Yeah, so. I've always appreciated it. I've always tried to have a great relationship with players. And, in pro football, that's some people that feel it's not necessary, but in college it is. And I'm dealing with 17, 18-year-old kids in college. And you got them for 4 or 5 years. You're trying to develop them to be, productive citizens the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years of living. And so you definitely want to have a relationship with them, and you're the first person they're going to call when they need help. And when you recruit them, you got them for life, and that's what it'll always be.
Yeah,
college coaching.
No, it's awesome. So, last thing on the Cowboys, then I have one last, and then we'll definitely let you go. So the Cowboys today, do you follow them? Do you still follow the Cowboys closely today?
Sure I do.
All right, so you tell me what is going on with the team. Why can't it's been 27 years. You're the last coach to lead us to a Super Bowl. What is it? Just this much bad luck? But it seems like the talent's there. What's your thoughts, from afar of this team and where they're at?
Well, let me first. I got to state this. I don't live in their house.
Yeah.
And you can't talk about what's going on in the house unless you live in the house. And I don't know anything about what's going on there or what's happening there or the talent or ability of the players because I haven't looked in any film. I don't study any tape. I don't get their perception from other coaches about the players and evaluate them. And so I just can't really speak to that. It's not fair for me to. Because that's what the media does. That's what the media does.
Well, the media loves to hate the Cowboys. That's for sure.
Let them do that. I'm not going to do that because they don't know what they're talking about. I've always laughed about these guys. Most of them never covered a kickoff or brought one back.
I know.
About it. It tickles me to death. Then I remember we used to run a play back in the 70s. It was the hook and lateral, and they thought I said ladder. So for years on TV, even the color people would say the hook and ladder, the hook and ladder. And Oklahoma ran the hook and ladder. I said, ladder? What the hell is ladder got to do with football terminology? I laughed my ass off at that one.
One thing I'll ask you though, we won't talk in depth on the team, but there's we have the old what do they call it? I forgot the word. It's escaping me, but a curse. Some say there's a curse on the Cowboys because Jerry just wanted one championship and he never asked for another one and just wanted to win that one without Jimmy Johnson. And so many fans have bought into that. And I tell you, sometimes it makes me wonder when I see the way, our seasons ends, because we get our hearts ripped out. It's not like a team just blows us out. We're winning and they just rip our hearts out in the end. Some say the curse can be ended if Jerry would put Jimmy in the Ring of Honor. And I know that they've had some talks when Jimmy got, inducted in the Hall of Fame and this and that. And it kind of, they have an interesting relationship. We don't need to get into it too much, but what is your thoughts on that? Is there any anything you got to say on that the curse?
I will decline from that. I don't know anything about the curse. I know how to cuss. I don't know how to curse. I don't know anything about curses.
But yeah, you can see Cowboy fans for 27 years. We look for any angle. I just cannot. And Craig Morton and I were talking about it. I can't. We both said, how are the Cowboys not a Super Bowl in 27 years? As great as the franchise is, we've had the talent, we've had that. It's just bad things seem to happen at the worst times lately. And it's, you got one game. It's not like basketball and baseball where you're best of 7. You've got to bring your best game. And for whatever reason, things just haven't gone the Cowboys' way. But it is amazing that it's been 27 years. You got to agree with that.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame, but how many haven't ever won the damn thing?
No, that's what I live on. That's my response to all these guys, because I always say, it took us 27. You haven't won one in 27 years. Well, why haven't you caught up? You've had all these years to catch up. Philly had all these years to catch up, and they got one. So, but yeah. Yep. So anyway, I appreciate it. One last thing, I'd be remiss to talk just for a few minutes about Oklahoma. I'm a Miami Hurricane. Had a great rivalry in the 80s. I think it was 85, 86, 87. We had that 3-year where we played each other, during the season.
Right.
And I think each team won a national title those years. I think, I know Miami won the regular seasons each time, but you guys got a national championship out of it. Miami got a couple out of it. And
let me tell you, Miami had the best football team in America for 3 consecutive years. They had the best talent, best players, without a doubt. And hell, when Jerome Brown went in the league as a defensive tackle rookie, he was the best damn lineman in the league.
Yeah.
Philly. I mean, we had to play him, and I looked at tape of him, and I marveled at how good a player he was as a freshman, but as a rookie in that league. But he, no, they were the most talented, had the most talent than any team in college football at that time. And you got to remember now, they were that way for a while. But when Jimmy went there, he took over a good program.
Yeah, for Schnellenberger.
You inherit what's there. And Jimmy inherited a good team and was able to build on that.
Yeah.
I inherited a good team and was able to continue it. Jimmy he lost 2 games that I don't think he should have in bowl games, and he lost to Tennessee, and Johnny Majors sent me a bottle of whiskey. I said he bet Tennessee whiskey because Johnny and I coached together at Arkansas. Actually, we both coached Jimmy Johnson together.
Wow.
And so we were all together at Arkansas, and Jimmy and Jerry and me and Johnny Majors, we were all together at Arkansas. And Johnny and Jimmy coached for Johnny Majors at Iowa State. I got so much history with these bastards. You wouldn't.
I know. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's all intertwined. You're like the one guy, the 6 degrees of separation.
I know.
I
know them all.
You're intertwined forever. But I think the other game you were talking about is probably that Penn State game, and I think Jimmy Johnson.
Penn State, yeah, right.
He said that's still his worst loss in the history of any sport. Any
yeah,
season.
They get off. Well, first of all, you got Penn State for a damn good football team.
Yeah.
I think they're not. They got players, and so obviously that was with the fatigue. They were invasion. They were invading. I remember that. I said, shit. all joined the Army.
Was there any intimidation with Miami? I talked to Dennis Erickson about it, and Miami, I know with you guys when you came down with Bosworth and Jameel, they got the hotel where you're at. They're prank calling, and then the coin toss.
They did.
You know,
they
all
did that. That don't bother our players. Don't buy that bullshit. You know, they give back as much as they get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, just finally, what are you up to now, Coach? I mean, you still gotta, you sound exactly like you did, when you're coaching the Cowboys. I made this joke to Dennis Erickson. It wasn't a joke; it's actually real. Me just mentioning your name still makes me nervous, and I don't know what it is. It's just your presence. I don't know. It's it's just your presence, but you're just such a great guy. But you carry yourself strong, but the passion you have for your players, and I know the players reach out to you, and you still reach out to them, and that connection you have is, I mean,
right.
I wish coaches. You are so real. And that's the thing I probably appreciated most. Like that, that clip I played, you did that all the time. And it seems coaches and just maybe because it's social media and everything that's happened, everyone's so robotic. And you wore your emotions on your sleeve, and you kind of spoke the truth and what you felt. And I just always appreciated that as a coach from you.
Well, that's the only way I knew how to do it. So that's the way I did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I apologize. I'm glad we got the connection, and I apologize for the first hiccup on my end with the power, but we're good. And
well, you know what? No one would have known that had you not mentioned it.
I know it's fine. It's fine, but I had promoted it, and then things got messed up, so I had to come clean with it, and it's fine. We'll clip it. We'll make it good. But what are you doing today? You mentioned. You do some traveling and business. Are you still staying active?
I stay active all the time. I've got a lot of businesses I've been involved in. I got partners that count on me to be involved. So I've got to carry my part.
Yeah.
So.
No, awesome. Well, I really do appreciate you coming on and coming into the cave with Cowboys fans, and thanks for the great years you had with the Cowboys, delivering us that Super Bowl that, that's the last one. So the last one's always the best one in my eyes. So right now, that's still the best thing.
All right.
You go for the Cowboys. But I appreciate it, Coach. Have a great day. God bless, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, you just heard it. Coach Barry Switzer coming into the cave. We had a great conversation. And I'll say, I touched on it. We joke a lot with Barry and the situation that he had to take over. And how could how could Jerry Jones let Jimmy Johnson, leave and fire him, whatever way you guys want to call it. But, Barry came in at a very difficult situation. And he was in a no-win situation. But he came in and he got the Cowboys to the NFC Championship game, and a crazy game away from really winning, 3 in a row. And then they go back and they would have won 4 in a row. And then, like I said, a lot of people forget that free agency, and Jimmy Johnson had to face that with the Dolphins. And I think one of the other things that what Barry had to deal with was the Cowboys didn't draft well. He really wasn't over the draft, and that was when Jerry was, kind of controlling that ship. And they had bad draft pick after bad draft pick. Shante Carver it's one to come to mind. I mean, the only legit draft pick that they got that obviously is a Hall of Famer is Larry Allen. So you give him that credit in '94 for doing it. But I mean, he's just so candid, so honest. You gotta love that. You gotta be, the refreshing thing. But if you guys loved it, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, because we got a lot of things going on. We got a lot of stuff in the works in the Cowboys Cave. And I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next week live. Take care.